Hey, we've got something new we're going to introduce to you. You know, sometimes we play you clips from the White House press room where Jen Psaki sort of tries to Psaki it to people like Peter Doocy from Fox News. But it's interesting, the press will sometimes Psaki it to her. We call it the brand new feature here, Psaki bombs. So you may hear and see that little stinger going on. This happened this week. Jen Psaki was asked if Joe Biden, in meeting with the Mexican president, would reinstate the remain in Mexico policy, which meant that when immigrants came to the border, they wouldn't just be allowed to come into the U.S., they would have to remain on the Mexican side until their hearings could take place to see did they qualify to come into the U.S. Gee, what a novel idea. You don't open the door till you know who's behind it. Anyway, this was Psaki's answer to that.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. While he's meeting with the Mexican president today, do you expect him to come to an agreement on returning to the Trump-era Remain in Mexico policy?
I don't believe that's intended to be a big topic at this meeting.
Okay, so you don't think they'll come to an agreement on that today?
I think it was previewed as not a major topic of discussion, so I wouldn't anticipate that.
Okay.
No, it wasn't a big topic of discussion because it would have been substantive. It would have actually dealt with the crisis at the border, so we're not going to touch that. She was also asked about the Keystone XL pipeline decision that cut it off. And the result is, if you're buying gasoline, I know that you have to from time to time. Are you paying what you paid last year when the average price was $2.11 a gallon this very week across America? This week, it's $3.48 a gallon average across the country. Here's another Psaki bomb.
So in consideration to reversing some of the policies that led to this, maybe reconsidering the Keystone pipeline as the Prime Minister of Canada is here?
Well, I think the problem with that argument is that the Keystone pipeline isn't even really functioning. I mean, it was only partially built. It isn't even really functioning. So suggesting that changing that would lower the price of gas, I don't know that that makes substantive sense.
Let me explain why it did make substantive sense. Because you don't necessarily sell the refined gasoline that just got piped in. You're buying oil futures. And the futures are dependent upon what does it look like in terms of access to the supplies. So if you've got crude moving your way and you have more of it coming, that means you're going to have a larger supply. Supply and demand, bigger supply, equal demand, lower prices. Jen, it's not complicated. I know you must have gone to a real nice school and everything. You might want to ask for your tuition money back, because if you don't think that shutting down the pipeline and having a war, as your administration does, against anything oil and gas in this country, while begging OPEC to turn on their spigots halfway around the world, if you don't think that has anything to do with the cost of fuel in this country, like I said, ask for a refund of wherever you went to school. All right, here's another Psaki bomb. This is when Peter Doocy is asking if Joe Biden brought up to Xi Jinping of China whether or not they would be cooperating with the investigation into the origins of COVID.
He talked about the importance of transparency, but did he ask President Xi to cooperate specifically with this U.S. intel agency-led investigation into the origins of COVID?
Peter, it's clear that that's what we want. That's what we've been pressing on. I don't have any more to read out for you from the meeting.
You're saying that it's clear. Is it clear to somebody who has a Zoom meeting with the president that that's what he means if that's not what he says?
I think the president has spoken publicly on this a number of times. Our national security officials have conveyed very clearly, I don't think it's a secret. That's what we want. That's what we've been pressing for.
No, Jen, it's a big secret because you've never really explicitly said, hey, we think the Chinese knew about the origins of this, perhaps leaked it, certainly didn't tell anybody when it did leak. And the result was millions and millions of people around the world have been killed, and over 700,000, some estimate now 900,000 Americans dead because of this, and basically gut-punched our economy and a whole lot of people's lives forever and forever and ever. I think we would like to see the president specifically confront President Xi about this, but we don't have any expectation that it will happen. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, then subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Now, if you didn't like it, you ought to find a Ben Shapiro video to detox you with more facts.